In this episode, Isaac and Casey explore a world of ice with tiny little ice demons, aka toddlers. Hello, everybody! Today we're making a world of ice.
A world of ice?
A world of ice.
What do you mean by
It's
that?
very nice. So nice I said it twice.
A world of ice?
A world of ice, and now it's thrice.
Okay, we're gonna stop there. So, by that do you just mean like Antarctica, but everywhere?
Everywhere, and also maybe because it looks cool, big wavy ice pillar spikes that go upward and curve. Imagine if it was like the Washington Monument, but you bent it into somewhat of a curved shape, like a crescent or whatever, and maybe curve it back upwards like a recurve bow, make it all wavy, a whole bunch of those, and make it wider at the bottom.
Or
So
like Frozen, what she does with like the waves in Frozen
like
too.
Frozen. Yeah, a lot like Frozen, but massive.
Well, yeah, it covers the world instead of just a city town thing.
Yeah, and these giant spikes are like the size of Washington Monument, except a lot wider. Maybe
Okay.
even taller at times. They're kind of like mountains almost.
Yeah.
Tiny mountains of ice.
Okay.
Good luck climbing them though. You need pickaxes to climb them.
You can still find a way. Carving into them could be fun.
Claws. What?
You could carve into them. Stairways.
Yeah, you
And
can
such.
carve stairways into them. Just try not to fall. Slipping and falling down these stairs would not be fun.
Yeah, because you couldn't stop. I mean, you can't really stop yourself anyways, but you really can't stop yourself here. Plus, you'll get like an ice burn on the way down. It'll just.
Before we go any further, now might be a good time to mention the standard stuff of.
Oh, hi,
we
I'm
are-
Casey, this is Isaac. Welcome to World Explorers, where we take a random idea, in this case a world made out of ice, and we build an entire world around it. Woo! Good?
Yay!
Awesome. Anyways, so, number one, so I'm assuming there's no dirt?
Maybe there is dirt, maybe there isn't. Maybe if you want dirt, you gotta dig really far down or something. Or maybe there's like a rare patch. It's kind of like a oasis is to a desert, where there's not much of it, and you just gotta find random patches of it. But anyway, it's like all ice. Also, this place has 2 moons because I said so.
Fair enough. If you want 2 moons, you can have it. Also, maybe not really a sun, like there is one, but it's very dim.
Maybe the 2 moons are their suns. Like they're just bright enough that they can light the world, but they don't melt everything.
I like that. That would work. Okay, so they have moons instead of moons, quotation marks instead of suns. The giant pillars. So I guess the big issue we have to deal with is food.
Yeah, that I wasn't sure how we were gonna handle.
I mean,
It's like with Antarctica, it's fish, but there's a lot of water there. This is all frozen.
I guess we just have to create new food, like plants that grow in ice like it's dirt.
Ooh, maybe there's you can get like fruit that grows from the ice like it's dirt, but the plants are like coated in ice or frost, and when you pick it, you get like this frozen berry. Have you ever tried frozen grapes? They're good.
I have not tried frozen grapes before.
It's like a slushy.
I do like grape flavored slushies.
Just don't be expecting a slushy. Be expecting something that's slushy-like.
Well, okay. Okay, I think, yeah.
And half frozen is probably the best place. Not like frozen solid, been in there for 3 days. Like half frozen, like let it sit out for a little bit so it gets somewhat something, and then take a nice, sweet, juicy bite out of it. I am energetic today. In case you couldn't
I have
tell.
noticed. I worked all day, so I'm doing okay though. Cause I don't know why, but work makes me perky, and maybe it's because you have a I work in customer service, so I have like a customer service mode, and then when I go home, it doesn't go away. It just stays.
I was thinking maybe you felt like you accomplished something today.
I mean, I did accomplished a lot. Anyways, so so food can grow through the ice. I think the next big thing is heating. Or do these people not need, the whatever live here just not need heat? Like heat's just not a thing they desire.
I think that maybe we'll have to replace humans with some other creature that doesn't need heat.
Yeah, that could
Maybe
be fun.
some kind of alien creature.
Okay. So is this like a really woolly creature? Or just cold resistant in other ways?
Maybe something that more relies on the cold to survive.
So, kind of like a cold-blooded creature relies on lots of heat?
Yeah.
Okay. In which case, does it want a lot of exposure to the cold, so it wouldn't have...
You cut out. In which case, does it want a what?
In which case, does it want a lot of exposure to the cold? So, it doesn't have wool or things like that. Like, it's kind of bare skin, like... I'm thinking like a Sphinx cat or whatever they're called. Naked mole rat.
Yeah. Yeah.
She says, holding her hamster.
And maybe now, what would they look like? Like, would they be like scaly creatures? Maybe they're covered in frost. Maybe.
So these are going to be our intelligent creatures, right?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Or we could make them not intelligent creatures and have separate creatures.
I mean, I always like to start with the intelligent creatures and then build the other creatures around it.
Alright.
Personally. And I like the idea of having I don't know, are we going reptile?
Reptile is what came to mind.
What came to me was naked mole rat, so maybe reptile is the better option.
Two things came to mind for me. Reptile and man made of ice triangles.
Ice
pyramid.
I like the idea of triangles having a big impact into these creatures. Like, what they're for. Maybe they have, instead of, like, the oval-like scales, they have triangle-shaped scales.
Maybe. Ooh, what if, okay, are we going with, like, they look like they're stacked together with, like, ice blocks, and that is their body?
Okay, I'm cool to go with that.
Okay, because I'm thinking if we do that, they could have, like, points on the ends of their arms, the triangle corner is.
Oh, which they can like stab into the ice to climb mountains and stuff?
Yes, that is exactly where I was going.
Yeah, I follow.
They can also use them to plant crops, like they dig into the ice to plant more ice fruit.
Oh, that's a good point too. Yeah, I guess having very pointy, and maybe they have like this pointy thing. Maybe it grows out of their wrists, and they still have hands, so they can like pick things up and stuff.
Yeah, maybe what they do is they can reshape parts of their body, or where they like release some liquid, some water. They melt it inside their body, then release it outside of their body, let it run down to like the tips of their ice claws or whatever, and then let the air around them freeze it, and that causes them to grow extra.
I don't know, because then you kind of have to, if you don't want anymore, you have to break it off, and that sounds painful. Maybe a better idea is just that they have limbs that kind of move. So.
Well, I was thinking they wouldn't have nerves in these parts of them.
Well, maybe not. Yeah, or they, yeah. That's
maybe they have nerves, like, maybe they're not made of ice, but they're coated in ice.
Okay, so.
Or they don't have a nervous system.
They kind of use ice like we do clothes, like they need it to survive type thing.
Yeah.
It keeps them cold, because they need to be really cold to survive.
Yeah, so they need to be like in constant contact with ice.
Yeah.
But then again, with their own body heat, or no, maybe they don't generate body heat.
No, I mean, I assume they wouldn't. They do the opposite. You know how we produce body heat? They produce like cold air.
Okay, and so the ice actually keeps their own cold air in.
Yeah.
Rather than keeping heat in. Okay.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
And then maybe they are able to somewhat warm. Well, how would they warm the ice then?
Oh, like to create. I'm telling you, I think the body having movable body parts might be easier. So they
Okay.
just have really weird joints that can kind of. I'm trying to think. Almost. What's a good example of? I guess like a transformer. How they can like take their pieces of themselves and like move them to different areas to create new shapes and stuff. It's
That's a
still
good
a part
idea.
of them. And they don't the pieces don't come off, but they can transform them as they need.
Yeah, another idea I thought about was like they just they're attached by like maybe some kind of magic energy or whatever that makes all of their different ice body parts float around together. Like they don't have any actual joints, but there's a gap in
Oh,
between them.
oh,
I'm trying to think
that's.
of an example. Like a lot of like stone golems might have, where it's just a bunch of
I mean,
stones
I
swapped
think
together.
because we play a lot of this game, I think Minecraft lasers.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, with the things floating around them.
Yeah, I like your idea too, where it's like a transformer. I think that could work really well too.
I mean, we could have more than one
Which do
type
you
of
like better?
creature. I think the
What?
transformer one makes sense for the intelligent one, but I do like the idea of there being a creature in this world where it has those like more fluid body parts, just not being the main intelligent species or a different
Yeah,
intelligent species. I don't know. I'm up for
yeah,
that.
I like that. Let's go with that. The more intelligent, I would say the more intelligent one should be the one that's like all one piece. While the more, because like the floating around body parts is very often a magical sort of feeling, which very often leads to a more mysterious sort of feeling with other creatures that you haven't seen before.
Also, they
Makes
kind
them
of
seem
lose like
more
things like
unnatural
opposable
or
thumbs and or they don't have as much control with their body parts as someone who just transforms.
yeah, they kind of flail around whenever they spin.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of like flailing around, how do people move about? Do they like all? Is this like one giant ice rink and they all wear ice skates?
I mean, ice skates seem like a pretty good first start of travel. So things like sleds, but motorized sleds, which I'm surprised isn't really a thing, but are motorized
Well, it
sleds a
wouldn't
thing?
take much. Maybe. I'm thinking if you're not going super long distance, you could just like have something to propel you forward, and the sled will let you ride the ice pretty far.
Also, you
And
have
it's
things
all
like snowmobiles eventually once society. Well, maybe not because snowmobiles take a lot of parts that they might not have access to.
yeah. This world is mostly ice.
That is true.
So we don't really know. So I imagine they aren't super advanced in technology.
And not because they're not intelligent enough or anything like that, just because they don't have the resources.
Yeah, they just don't have the materials.
Yeah. So, going back to the idea of water, how do they get access to water?
Um, maybe what it is the core of the Earth is warm, but the outside is cold. Maybe this is a world where there is no atmosphere.
Okay.
And no, because then that would bake one side of the world and freeze the other. Never
Yeah.
mind. Scratch that. Uh, so there is an atmosphere.
And then we
Um,
just wait. Well, let's not overly complicate it too much. We just need a way for water to, or do they even need water? Like, is water a thing these guys need?
I would say no, but I think that maybe there are with it. Okay, so there has to be some warm areas in this world because there has to be some areas that actually pose a threat to these creatures. You got to get an interesting plot line somewhere.
True.
So uh, these is so there have to be somewhere where it's like where it's warmer, and if they go there, they're in danger.
Also, there could be that idea that water, instead of being a helpful, useful thing, is actually really dangerous to them.
Yeah,
Like, water itself
and
is
like
just bad news.
yeah, you can only survive in a warm climate as long as your ice does. Once your ice melts, you're basically dead.
So, it's almost like I'm trying to think what creature is. There's a creature out there that has, like, the shell, and without the shell, they practically instantly die, but the shell's not actually part of them. It's something in the environment that they gather when they're really little. And then eventually, if they lose it, they die. I don't remember what the creature's called, but there is a creature like that. They're kind of like that. So, in their environment, they've gathered these ice suits, and now they're completely dependent on them. If they lose them or it melts or something, they die.
Yeah.
Uh,
So maybe the core of the Earth is warm, and it creates these underground hot springs.
or we could even have like chasms, which has like steam coming out of it, scattered throughout. That it's extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
We could always have the doom event of an active volcano.
Oh, boiling water. Volcano of boiling water.
Oh, so no magma, just really hot water.
No magma, because we're being more unique than that.
Isn't that just a steam volcano? Steamado?
Yeah, maybe. What if it's normally there's a volcano nearby this civilization,
Yeah.
and normally it just lets out a constant bunch of steam until suddenly one day it erupts and boiling water comes out instead of steam.
Well,
And
that
it
would
starts
definitely cause
melting.
issues.
Yeah, and it's just a constant flow, and it starts melting the water. It starts melting the ice around it, turning land into oceans and lakes and small little puddles. It starts raining boiling water. Uh,
Not good things for these creatures that don't like water and also don't like heat.
yeah, so all around bad.
I think something fun to do for this world might be to create like a different ice environments. So instead of just the ice tundras or the I feel like the ice towers is a good place for them to live because you can carve cities in them
Yeah,
and civilizations in them. But maybe there's, I kind of like a forest type thing, like an ice forest could be cool, and maybe have things like maybe more normal quotation marks around normal creatures like snowy owls or the white wolves and polar bears and stuff could be a part of this world because sometimes it's nice even when you have like a crazy world to have pieces of normality for others to latch onto.
okay, you're talking about making it more normal. But you were also talking about the forest and a bunch of creatures. So I went abnormal.
Okay.
So I was thinking, what if we had like ice trees, like you're talking, but they had these root systems where the roots actually came up out of the ice, made an arc, and went back down into the ice, and then just came back up again and did the same thing. You have all these arcs where people get these archways of ice where people can actually walk through and under around them. It would be almost like a maze. You can climb on top of them, assuming you don't slip.
I assume they'd intertwine a lot.
Yeah, and then I also took that and said, what if there were small creatures like hamsters or mice-like creatures that carve them out and then turn them into like little pipes and things that they can run around?
I like that. So we say they're ice trees, but I assume they're not actual ice. Like these trees have to be made out of something.
Maybe it's what if we created a new material?
That could be fun.
What if we created a new material and we'll make it related to ice, where it's ice-like,
Yeah.
but it doesn't behave like ice. It looks similar to ice, but we'll call it.
I mean, an idea is that it's unmeltable ice, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So this ice, it's got like the texture and consistency, but it never turns into water because it's not water.
Yeah.
It's ice,
Yeah, that's what I'm
but
thinking.
like wood.
Yes.
And I know something
And it can
cool.
grow.
Yeah, so like plants, plants kind of make like their own food source and stuff, and it's kind of cool if it was a bit see-through and you could almost see that process happening through the ice of like nutrients coming throughout the tree and stuff from the top down. I don't know if like it'd be fun if it was like maybe different shades of blue or something, and You just had
Yeah, different
these
shades of blue, and
trails.
then maybe some transparent, some that crystal clear, maybe some that look kind of blurry when you look through it, like looking through the end of a bottle.
Yeah. Or like those kaleidoscope things almost. Maybe some of them are like that. With all the different shapes and stuff. That's fun.
I'm trying to think of what we would call them. Uh,
Oh, no, we know we're not good at names.
Daw tree
We're calling
or
them.
dawless tree.
Oh, wait, we could play, it could be a play on word like evergreen, like everfreeze trees?
Everfreeze trees. I love it.
Yeah, because it's a play off of evergreens, how evergreens never,
Yes,
yeah.
Everfreeze.
Hey, look, we came up with a
Love
good
it.
name for once.
Yay!
This is a rare thing. If you listen to any of our
We're
podcasts,
so
we'll spend like 10
creative.
minutes on it. Okay, so we
Yeah,
have our everfreeze forests, which is fun to say.
yeah, the most creative thing we've come up with name wise, we have like three things. We have the Greenwood elves, the uh,
That's it.
huh,
That was it.
the puffs.
The puffs. The puffs are fun.
That's like you're like that's like we didn't even
It was a very
want the puffs as the
basic.
name. It's very basic, and it wasn't a good name because it was only good for like the more cuddly versions and not the thunderhead versions.
Yeah. But we have so everfreeze forests are now a thing. We've got the towering things in which people make their village. So would there be like a meadow type, an icy meadow with like flowers and such growing out of ice?
I imagine tiny little spikes of ice that would be painful to step on.
That could actually be really fun. I mean, not fun. No, I'm not for the people living there, but to write and make a story element is these. I guess like the ice shard meadows.
Ooh, ice shards.
Yeah.
Shice.
Shites?
Shice.
That sounds like a curse word, I'm not gonna lie.
It does. Actually, I didn't hear it until you said that. I was just combining ice and shards.
Yeah, no, I know what you were doing, but it unintentionally sounds like we're cursing at the world.
So, isards, icards, see, that's just why I switched the words around. It doesn't sound like a word anymore.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Look, I think what?
Ice blades. So,
I was about to say like
life.
blades, which are blades in grass, but blades are a thing already.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, given that these people are covered in ice, they're probably not gonna feel much pain if they step on these things.
Oh, that's true. It probably would be like walking on grass, not glass. Walking on grass for them. For us, it'd be like walking on glass.
Maybe this is known as like unbreakable ice, where where if you step on it, it will pierce through the ice that you are wearing.
I mean, another idea is that it's flexible ice, so when you step on it, it just bends with your weight.
Well, then you can step on it, and it's suddenly boring.
Well, that's true. Okay, you're right. We'll keep them unbreakable shards of ice.
Maybe that's actually part of it. Is they're extremely stiff, but also if you put enough strain on it, it won't break. It'll just bend, and then if you take your weight off, it bends back. So it's basically impervious to anything you throw at it. If you try and like take a saw to it or something, it'll like just it's really tough to put any pressure. It's really tough to cut through it because it's so tough. But if you do manage to put pressure on it, it's gonna like flex.
I mean, this also gives the opportunity of us having like my first thought was an elephant-like creature that's really heavy and big that can like transport, that can like step on them and they just flatten them. And so they can make their homes in the ice shard meadows.
I like
or
that.
It could be used to, or in this case be used by these people to travel over them painlessly.
Yeah, and I could see people managing to like clear these out of the way, like basically uproot them, break the ice below it, and then transport it somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that could also be done if you really wanted to get it out of
I
the way.
think though that an advantage of these blades, I think they have to be really pretty. I think they should flower occasionally.
Okay, and maybe they bloom, and then the petals are sharp as well. So
Yeah, but they
all
should be
around,
really
it's just
pretty.
sharp no
I
matter
think
what.
they should be really like colored ice, like bright, like
Ooh,
the little bits, so that way they know other colors. This is their only opportunity to know other colors, type thing. Is because of
yeah,
these.
maybe like when the light hits it, it creates like this rainbow reflection effect.
Oh, that would be so pretty. But they shouldn't bloom often. I think it's like they bloom for like a week out of the year. Or
Yeah,
whatever their time thing is. I'm not gonna say their timelines based
I
off of the
like
year,
that.
but and so it's like it's a huge festival because normally things like that become big giant festivals when they all bloom and
I thought this world was gonna be so boring because it's just ice. It's
but
becoming more and
no,
more
it's
interesting.
it's just we have this huge thing that we can work around with and this huge idea and we can create things out of it because it's a simple concept that we can spend a lot of time with.
I thought it was too simple though. I didn't
No.
think that we
Well,
could make ice more impressive.
ice is always impressive. You've seen Frozen.
It's frozen water, and we are expanding on it.
Of course. Always. That's what our job is to expand.
Okay, so what else have we got?
Good question. Now that we say that. So we have these fields, we have our steamy volcano that threatens their very existence. We've got our forests. I don't know. We can work on some other creatures, like return to those creatures which have like force limbs, or maybe so you know how like a big part of the Arctics and stuff is magnets and magnets and stuff for
Yeah.
compasses and things. Maybe these creatures are related to that and how they attack. They're like mini magnets that attract each other, and that's how they keep their body parts together.
Ooh, I like that. Like their ice has sort of a polar um effect on each other, on itself.
Yeah. So they'd have to be really small because then they couldn't ever get close to each other. Or maybe
Yeah. So,
it's a very interesting mating ritual to watch. I don't know. Like
or maybe what it is they can like strengthen and weaken the effectiveness of the pull.
like at will, or
Yeah,
have a
like the
control of.
controls.
Maybe they can control like what direction it faces in a way.
Yeah.
So if they wanted to, they could hug each other by focusing their magnets on all one side, so all their arms just go on one side, and then they kind of like belly bump, and that's their version of a
Yeah.
hug.
And then if you want to get away, you just like reverse the poles.
Yeah. Honestly, that can make them watching them transport really fun because they could have they can transport like one person's like, "Hey, where are you going?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm heading west." It's like, "Oh, cool, I'm going east. You want to speed travel?" And so like they get really close and then they repel each other because they can do that too, and they just go in opposite directions.
It's like a bunch of magnetos.
Yes, it's just fun. They could also be really mean to each other if they wanted to, but I guess
Yeah.
it's a mutual meanness. Well, actually, I think you can always escape it because someone who's like bugging you, like they're pulling you towards you, because then you just reverse and then you get shot
Yeah.
away. So they can't really bug each other too much with it.
Yeah.
It's easy to escape
So-
from people you dislike.
These are not intelligent creatures, right?
No. I think they're higher than the average, but they're not like human level.
They're more like chimps,
Yeah.
chimpanzees.
Yeah. No less than chimpanzees, at least.
So where do they live?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think they'd like the forests, because they'd like open fields, so I think they live in the
Yeah.
very, just the ice field, like plain ice, just for miles and miles.
Probably.
because that's where I would want to live if I had the ability to supercharge myself. And I'm assuming, what would they live in? Like, what would they do for shelter and stuff?
What if they lived in an area that had? You remember in Avatar: The Last Airbender how the desert had that giant magnetic rock?
Yes.
What if we had something similar to that where these guys lived?
Oh, and then they could really easily get to their home because they just magnet themselves to it in whatever direction they go. And it's another way where they can, like, shoot off really fast and whatever. These guys are speedy. They're probably
these guys
terrifying.
Could either be extremely menacing, or they could be extremely useful.
Yes. Oh,
maybe. They could definitely be both.
Especially if they were, like, trained to be, like, messengers by the ice people.
Yeah. Imagine, like, you're one of the ice people and you go on an adventure and then you come across these guys going all over the place. Maybe they're, like, little pranksters or whatever, and they like to go and steal all of your resources.
Imps! I think they're the level of like, like, I wanted to use Harry Potter and realized that wouldn't work. What's an example? I was gonna say, like, the pixies in Harry Potter.
I was thinking of Yoda when he first met Luke, and he starts digging through all the stuff.
Or maybe you know Baby Yoda, or whatever his name is. Guru.
I've only seen like a little bit of the Mandalorian.
Oh my goodness! I was thinking like his intelligence, maybe a bit less, but like.
Yeah, something like that.
They've got the intelligence of toddlers.
Yeah, but they're way more energetic and stronger and faster.
I'd say they're the same energy level. They're just I do. I imagine them as very social creatures.
I imagine them being like 2 feet tall.
Oh, like little guys. I was imagining them bigger for some reason, but I like the idea of them being smaller.
I was imagining like 2 to 3 feet tall.
Yeah, I like that too.
And maybe you have like that one little one that's like 6 inches tall. It just sort of waddles around.
Yes. It sounds so cute. I like these guys a lot. I think they can fight for cutest thing we've created. I don't think they beat Puffs though. The Puffs were just adorable.
It's hard to say. These guys are Puffs.
They're icy.
Puffs but both of them can be either adorable or absolutely menacing.
I honestly do not want one of these ice creatures coming at me at 80 miles per hour.
They can also both be very useful.
Yes.
Like they can be useful, menacing, or adorable.
But they can also be like menaces because they can wreck things. They can they can charge through your house at full speed. They can attract things to themselves and just cause all sorts of trouble if they feel like it.
Ooh, maybe that's one of the reasons people like to live in these icy meadow areas is because these little sliding magnet guys don't like to go there.
True.
Because they can't slide around in them.
That's true. Or the forest, the ice forest.
Yeah. Like
they would really dislike that.
The mountain in this area, I could see them going to.
Yeah.
Because they're still open enough.
Plus they can just shoot themselves up the mountain.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I just imagine them having they like to play games with each other.
Probably.
Like who can go the highest. So the idea is that you stand on top of each other, right? And then you reverse your attraction and you shoot the other person up in the air as high as you can. And then they come like crashing down. They're very tough. They don't get hurt easy. When they ram you at 80 miles per hour, they just laugh it off while you die. They're like, that was fun, let's do it again, as you're just laying on the floor, completely pancaked.
So, I came up with an idea as to what these guys would sound like.
Okay.
I'll send it.
That is both adorable and will get on your nerves so fast. That's great. Yeah, no, that's exactly how they would sound like, with a hint of echo to them. I love these guys. These are one of my new favorite creatures.
Yeah, I just made a bunch of weird noises and put my voice into a voice changer.
Yeah, I can tell it says voice changer. Okay, so
Yeah, that's just what I imagine them sounding like.
yeah, and just a ton of them chattering to each other. Because they don't speak the same language as our Iceman things do.
Yeah.
They're kind of
I
like
think they've
dogs in that
officially
aspect.
outdone the puffs in cuteness because we gave them a cute sound.
Did the puffs even talk? I don't think we have the puffs ever make
I
sounds.
don't know if we even gave them the sound that they make.
Yeah, because I
just
think
said
they're
that they look like
clouds.
horses sometimes. Well, they can make a thunder sound.
True. But yeah, these guys have cute sounds. Okay. So, do we want to go another place, or how are we feeling about this world?
So far I'm feeling pretty good, but how far are we into this? How long have we been doing this for?
We're at the point where we can stop whenever, but we're not like rushed to stop.
So we're at like 30 minutes-ish.
Yeah, a little over, yep.
Okay, well I'm fine with leaving it here.
I think I am
I'm not
too.
sure where else to go. We could always build on more, but that's the case with every world.
Yeah, like we can always keep going usually.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give you a challenge for next time. Where we go instead of like this where we've done a lot of worlds recently where we've been building the worlds are based off of a feature type thing, like a landscape feature. I kind of want to challenge you to do another world, kind of like the time travel one, or the both time travel ones are good examples.
Which are you talking about? The time one with the stones?
Yeah, with more like instead of a physical feature of a world, like an element or something like that. I don't know. I want a psychological world. I want a world where we talk psychology.
Okay.
I'm craving one of those.
You're bored of the standard world building.
Yeah, I want to go psychological for a bit next week.
Alright, I'll try and come up with something.
Awesome. Yeah, and then the week after, I believe, will be our second episode of explaining the basics of world building, where we're going to be talking about starting, just getting that first sentence down.
Okay, we're good. Alright, I couldn't remember what it was that we were going to be talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, starting the first words on the page, but that's more of a writing.
Well, yeah, but I feel like that's also something we can branch out with this series, is because we give a lot of examples of world building in this what we do now, like us talking about worlds and just actually building them, but actually talking about writing them and like writing techniques and stuff like that is something we don't talk about much, and that's what I'd like to explore a bit more with this series.
Okay, but I will say you're gonna have to lead the way on this next one, because first words is not my strong suit. I would say I'm okay at it, but I'm not exactly the best at it.
Well, we can still talk concepts, and who knows, maybe we'll both learn things. Well, I'm sure we'll both learn things. We always learn new things when we do these. But yeah, so next week we'll have a psychological world, so prepare your mind for that, hopefully. I'm relying on you.
Something mind-bendy.
Yeah, something mind-bendy and fun in that way, because those are some of my favorites.
Those are always the hardest.
Yes, but they're so much fun. And then the week after, we'll be talking about that first sentence. So that's kind of our plans, because for some reason we like to make plans well on the podcast. That's how we end it. But I think we're good. We got a nicey world. I hope you guys enjoy, and that you'll join us next week.
You have something to look forward to.
Yeah. And we will see you then.
Goodbye.
I clicked replay on your thing, and you sync. It's like you knew that I clicked replay because they were synced up perfectly.
That is wonderful.
It was a bit creepy.